Here's how to play piano in less than 6 minutes. First, we have the C note. The notes repeat from A to G as you go up the piano, so here are those filled in. The space between two notes can be a second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, or an eighth, also known as an octave. Now, we also have black keys that either go sharp, like this would be C sharp, or flat, which would be D flat. So yes, black keys can have more than one name. Now let's talk about rhythm. On the grand staff there are two clefs, the treble and the bass clefs. A song is divided into sections called measures. Every song has a time signature that shows how the song is played. The top number is how many beats are in a measure, and the bottom number is what type of note receives one beat. Also, at the beginning of the song, there may be sharps or flats that tell you if certain notes should be played sharp or flat during the whole song, unless stated otherwise. This is the quarter note that receives one beat in standard 4/4 time. Notice how the head of the note is colored in. Above that are eighth notes, which receive half of a beat. Two eighth notes make up a quarter note. Sometimes you may see eighth notes with flags sticking out of them, or you may see them connected with a line. The half note looks just like the quarter note, but is not filled in. Half notes receive two beats and are made up of two quarter notes. Now, the dotted half note looks like a regular half note, but it has a dot to its right. It receives 3 beats and is made up of 3 quarter notes. Finally, we have whole notes, which receive 4 beats. Whole notes are made up of 2 half notes, 4 quarter notes, or 8 eighth notes. Now that you know what the different type of notes are, let's talk about how to read notes on the staff. First, notes that are written through a line are called line notes, and notes that are written in the space between the lines are called space notes. There are many different ways to remember the notes, but here is my way. To remember the line notes in the treble clef, remember the phrase, "Every good boy does fine." By the way, when you pass the middle line of each clef, the stems go upside down. The space notes on the treble clef spell out face. Moving on to the bass clef, use the phrase "Great big dogs fight animals" for the line notes, and "All cows eat grass" for the space notes. Some notes are not written directly on the grand staff. We call these notes ledger lines, such as middle C, high A, or low E. These notes continue following the same rules as the notes on the grand staff. To indicate a sharp note, there will be a hashtag in front of the note that is sharp. The same thing applies to flat notes, but there will be a miniature B. Now let's talk about how to physically use the piano. When you sit down at a piano, make sure your feet are flat on the floor and your back is upright. Then, relax your shoulders and arms. Relax your hands and make sure your fingertips stay rounded as you play. In piano, your thumbs are your first fingers and your pinkies are your fifth fingers. Take your 5 fingers and rest them on C to G with both hands. Play the notes from C to G and get a feel for what it's like to play. Try playing multiple notes at a time, such as C, E, and G. This is called a chord, specifically the C major chord. The rule for major chords is that there are 3 notes between the bottom and middle notes, and 2 notes between the middle and high notes. Now, move your third finger down 1 note. This is a C minor chord. The rule for minor chords is that there are 2 notes between the bottom and middle notes, and 3 notes between the middle and high notes. Let's move on to something a little bit more challenging, a C major scale. A scale is 8 notes that start at 1 note and end at that same note an octave higher. A scale is made up of whole and half steps. A whole step has a distance of 2 notes, and a half step has a distance of 1 note. With your right hand, start with your first finger on C and play the first 3 notes with your first 3 fingers. Then, cross your thumb under your middle finger and play the F note, and continue with the remaining 4 fingers. Now, try coming back down starting with your 5th finger and crossing your 3rd finger over your thumb to play the E note. All major scales are played with 2 whole steps, 1 half step, 3 whole steps, and then 1 more half step. Now, let's play a C minor scale. The difference between a major and a minor scale is that the 3rd, 6th, and 7th notes drop by half a step. Play the scale with the same fingers you would have with the major scale. All minor scales are played with one whole step, one half step, two whole steps, one half step, and finally two whole steps. Well, those are the basics of piano. Obviously, in order to become skilled at the piano, you have to consistently practice. If you guys have any questions, make sure to comment. Have a good day.